Citizen science is when scientists ask regular people for help. An example would be a scientist might want to know about butterflies. Are they in different places? Are there fewer than before? And what does that tell us about them? So she needs a lot of info. So she would ask regular people, like us, to count the butterflies we see and then to send her that data.
What's good, Girl Gang? I'm Allery.
I'm Ella.
I'm Isabel. Welcome back to G-Teen TV. We're so happy to be back and hope you're as excited as we are for today's episode, Animal Conservation.
Today we're going to celebrate how Girl Scouts go outdoors. We're going to learn how we can help actual scientists with animal conservation projects, and we'll hear from an amazing real-life animal scientist.
We'll also learn about how we can get out in our own backyards to help save animals, so make sure to keep on watching. All right, so today's question is, what is your spirit animal? And to start off, I would like to say that my spirit animal is an elephant. I love how graceful they are, but at the same time, they're powerful and they stand out in the crowd.
And they're so smart, and you're really smart.
I love that. They are really smart. My favorite animal is a dog. They get so excited for what they like. They always want to play outside, and they just have a really good vibe.
Yes. Okay, I'm very excited to tell you guys my spirit animal because I took a very, very reputable internet quiz. So this is like a fact. And my spirit animal is a warthog. So yeah, I think it has to do with I'm very headstrong. I think that there was a quote thrown in the article about how don't try to teach a warthog how to paint. I think it'll only frustrate you and it'll upset the pig. And I just felt like that's very, very true. You know, I like being good at things. If I'm really interested in trying something, I'm willing to go for it. But yeah, I'm a warthog. So that is my spirit animal.
I love that.
Thank you.
Amazing.
All right, so comment below on Instagram what question you guys want us to answer, and we might put you in a future episode of G-Teen TV, and also comment your spirit animal down below.
Yeah, I really want to know if there's more warthogs, so that'd be nice.
That would be crazy, but also fun. Today's Catching Up with Girl Scouts has a twist. Our GT member, Milani, made a special video showing ways that Girl Scouts can get outside.
Hi, I'm Milani, and here's all the cool things Girl Scouts can do outdoors. What are some of the fun things that you've done outdoors? Comment below.
I loved seeing all those ways that Girl Scouts are able to get outdoors, and especially all those photos of the girls with the animals. They are so precious.
Me too. It's really important that we remember to take care of our environment so we always have all these fun adventures to enjoy. So many of us Girl Scouts are really passionate about helping the environment.
And we're not the only ones. Dr. Jillian Fazio is a real-life animal scientist, and she's our interview guest today. She's going to talk with Mary Laura about her work with clouded leopard conservation and about how she built a career working with animals. So take it away, Mary Laura.
Hey, my name's Mary Laura, and I am so excited to introduce you to today's interview, Dr. Jillian Fazio. Dr. Jillian Fazio is a postdoctoral research fellow for Smithsonian's National Zoo and Conservation Biology Institute. She has a PhD in environmental science and public policy and teaches at George Mason University. She oversees the species survival plan for clouded leopards, which means she helps zoos maintain a sustainable population of these amazing animals. She's also a Girl Scout alum. Thank you so much for coming and being here with us today, Jillian.
Absolutely, this is great.
So our first question for you is, what led you to a career in conservation?
I always loved animals, wanted to study them. I always watched them in my backyard. Always wanted to have lots of pets. And then when I turned 15, you can legally work in New Jersey, which is where I grew up. And my mom said, okay, you have to go get a part-time job. And so I went to our little downtown, and they had this really nice pet store. And I put an application in there, and then I came home, and my mom said, you can't only apply to one job. Like, what if you don't get it? And I was like, well, that's the only job that I want. And I was lucky enough to get it. And so I've kind of always had a job that's focused on animals. I learned a lot at that pet store. And then when I went to college, I focused on zoology because I wanted to study animal behavior. I went to University of Maryland, and I vet teched. So I worked in veterinary clinics and kind of helped the veterinarian. So I learned a lot more about the medical side of working with animals there. And then everyone said, when I was finishing my bachelor's, that if I wanted to do research, I was going to have to go to grad school. But right out of my bachelor's, I could not imagine going to more college at that point. And so I was like, ugh, what am I going to do? And I was looking for internships, and one just popped up with Disney's Animal Kingdom as an animal interpreter. And I honestly had not really thought about zoos as a career path. No one really talked about zoos or mentioned them as an option for a career. But I went down to Disney's Animal Kingdom, and that was a really good introduction for me to conservation work that zoos do. And so I got really interested in animal management and how we take care of animals at zoos and how best to do that to keep populations reproductively successful and sustainable. And that's kind of, where I went from there.
So from your internship at Animal Kingdom, where did you go and how did you end up at the Smithsonian Institute?
Yeah, so I think after Disney, I had a break where I came back home and I vet teched again in New Jersey while I was looking for other internships. And it turned out that a cat sanctuary, an exotic cat sanctuary in Texas, had just started an internship program. And so I applied, and it was good experience because they had 15 different cat species, and that's one of my focuses. And so I learned a lot about the different species requirements and working with the individual animals. And that's where I met my first clouded leopard. His name was Goliath. And it was the first time I had really learned about clouded leopards at all. And I was really interested in the species. They're kind of a missing link between the small cats and the big cats. So they have kind of their own little niche in the felid family. And so that's kind of what pointed me towards the Smithsonian, because they had one of the largest zoo collections of clouded leopards. So I kind of got it stuck in my head that I was going to work there one day with all of those cats.
After you started working at the Smithsonian, what led you to eventually become the Species Survival Plan Coordinator for clouded leopards?
And so I actually applied for cloud leopard SSP coordinator years before and didn't get it because I was really interested, but I just didn't have that kind of necessary background yet. But I was encouraged by my mentors because we have a really good, solid felid group of people. They encouraged me to apply again when I had a little more experience, and I did. And I was able to take the population on in, I think, 2017 or 2016.
So can you tell us a little bit about why animal study and conservation is so important and how it ties into other conservation issues such as climate change?
So when we think about conservation and we think about conserving a species, I invest a ton of time and energy into a single species, which is crazy because there's so many species. But that one species and those individuals, every single individual that we house at a zoo contributes the same way that each one of us contributes. And so I think it's important for us to remember that we're all connected and that no matter kind of what we're doing, we're impacting the planet and we're impacting the future. And just as ecosystems are closely connected, we are closely connected with those ecosystems. And clearly we're seeing now the effects that we've had on our planet. And conservation is not a single generation task. I will not save clouded leopards in my lifetime. But I will need a army of people behind me that are going to keep that going. And so I think it's really important that zoos serve our guests and the public and help educate and really be that spark for people to understand what kind of conservation efforts are needed, because it's not going to take just the people who love animals to help conserve our planet and to combat things like climate change. It's going to take every single one of us.
So what tips would you give to girls looking to pursue a similar career?
My number one biggest advice for anyone is to do internships while you can. Most zoos have them. And it really helps you kind of get your foot in the door and see what the possibilities are. There's lots of career options. I would say anyone who's interested in conservation, it does not matter if you're an animal person or not, there's something out there for you and there's a way for you to get involved. The zoo is like a little mini town. So we have, videographers and photographers, we have horticulture staff, we have communications people, maintenance crews. So literally any job that you can really think of, you can have an impact in a zoo or in the field of conservation somehow.
So my last question for you today is, can you tell us a little bit about the clouded leopard that shares your name?
Yes. So that female was born at the Nashville Zoo. She actually was the first offspring from a female that was the result of artificial insemination, which is a huge accomplishment in our field. And that was done by our reproductive physiologists here at SCBI that went down to Nashville Zoo and used one of the females there as the dam, the mom, and then had a cub successful, and then that cub bred naturally and had Jillian. So that's kind of a long explanation, but they named her after me, which was very, very nice, and it was a big honor to have an animal named after you, especially one that you care so much about. But
yeah. No, that's super cool that the science has advanced so much to give you so many more opportunities within the species.
So artificial insemination is really important, and a good example outside of the clouded leopards is our giant panda. So Mei Xiang just had a new cub on August 21st, and that cub is the result of artificial insemination again. And it's a huge feat that we did an artificial insemination during COVID. So something for us to definitely be proud of.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that was the last question I had for you. So thank you again so much for coming on today. I loved hearing about your work and what you do. And thank you.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much, Mary Laura.
Thank you so much, Mary Laura and Dr. Fazio. I love that she's been working with animals since such a young age at 15, and now she's the global coordinator for clouded leopards. Amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I love how clear she is about how she got where she is, because I know I definitely, for just a couple of years at least, as a kid, wanted to work with animals, and I never really knew what I would do about that. So it's really great that she's like so clear on how she did her internships and how she got where she is.
That is really cool. And speaking of leopards, okay, I have a joke. Why couldn't the leopard play hide and seek?
I have no idea.
Because he was always spotted.
He's funny.
Okay, so now we're gonna hear from Erin about how we can use the scientific method to observe the natural world around us and how we can use the skills to work with real-life scientists to make an impact, especially when it comes to animal conservation. Check out how you can observe nature and become a citizen scientist.
My name is Erin, and I am a senior Girl Scout. By the end of today, you will know how scientists solve problems, you'll be able to practice looking at understanding the world, and you can learn to become and help real scientists. All right, let's get started. Scientists study nature, conduct research to better understand the world around them. They use what they've learned to create solutions to problems that we as humans, plants, animals, or the environment face. And to learn new things and to do the research, scientists use a process called scientific method. Today, we're going to use the same process to find out how you can help real-life scientists learn and discover new things. But what are the steps of the scientific method? And how do scientists use it? Well, the first step is observation. You're watching and noticing with all of your senses, especially sight. The start of every experiment and discovery is when scientists look around and they find a place to learn more. You're not just looking, but you're thinking, and all scientists do it. You could be taking notes on what you see. You could be doing drawings, using a camera and taking photos, or taking videos. You want to record what's the temperature, what's the weather like, and then you want to look around and explore the surroundings by collecting your data. So you're drawing and writing what you're seeing. Lots of detail. You can't have too much detail. Scientists collect data and ask questions about their observation. These are called scientific questions, and it is the next important step in the scientific method. Choose one question that you're interested in trying to answer with observations and you are able to collect data from. Once scientists have a question, they must make an educated guess at what they think the answer might be. This is called a hypothesis. So now look at your scientific question. Do you think that you could turn it into a hypothesis? So use what you know to answer your scientific question. So next, try to answer your question by observing the subject one more time. Focus on taking field notes only on your subject. So use your field tools to add details about your subject's size, if it makes any sound, like if there's more than one. So you want to use like your ruler to measure the distance between two objects. Or use your camera to take a better photo instead of drawing. Make sure that you have a plan and you have your tools. And now go out and observe one more time. When scientists come back, they review their data and make sure that it matches what they know. So they reflect and they add new notes about what they think their data means. This is called data analysis, and it's another step in your process of the scientific notation. So there are so many different ways for you to analyze data. You can compare it to what others have found. You could present about it and tell your peers. You could see if you need more information. So once you have all your data collected, you need to create a field guide page about your subject. So you have your subject's name, you have a picture, you have where you've seen them, and other observations. Once you've done, create even more. Go look around your environment so you can tell the story about what's around you. So once you've finished your first ever field guide, here's some questions you may want to ask yourself. What did you find most enjoyable? What did you learn, and what do you want to learn now? What surprised you? Can you see yourself as a scientist? And how can you use these new skills in your day-to-day life? So, now that you know all about citizen science, what can you do next? The answer is to become a citizen scientist. Citizen science is when scientists ask regular people for help. An example would be a scientist might want to know about butterflies. Are they in different places? Are there fewer than before? And what does that tell us about them? So she needs a lot of info. So she would ask regular people like us to count the butterflies we see and then to send her that data. So what are you waiting for? You can be a citizen scientist with NASA. You can take photos of the night sky and send it to them through the Globe Observer Project. Or you can help identify plants with iNaturalist. Or you can play an online game called Stallcatcher to help with Alzheimer's research. There are endless possibilities that you can do. You can find all sorts of projects like this by going to scistarter.org. In the upper right-hand corner, by clicking on Partner Gateway, you're helping Girl Scouts get data too. SciStarter has over 6,000 citizen science projects for you to choose from. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you all have an awesome day.
Thank you so much, Erin, for that amazing introduction into SciStarter. I am personally in love with the bee project. There are a ton of bees outside of my house, and I would love to turn something that is sometimes a little bit terrifying into something that could really help scientists. So I will make sure to check that out after we finish filming this episode.
Yes, SciStarter is such a cool platform that I will be checking out as well. But to wrap up today's episode, we had so much fun with our segment with outdoor photos with all the Girl Scouts, our interview with Jillian Fazio, learning about how she got to where she is in clouded leopards, and our segment on how to be a citizen scientist and help with wildlife research at home. So which of these resonated most for you guys listening at home? Comment down below, and also Ella and Isabel.
Well, I personally love the Dr. Fazio interview. I love leopards. They're so beautiful and so important to our environment, and also the way she had so many internships and had a goal and went for it. It's so inspiring to any career you may be thinking of doing.
I completely agree. Her work ethic is amazing, and I mean, she's so successful, so it's really cool to see. This probably isn't a surprise based off what I said like a minute ago, but I really, really love the SciStarter project. I just think it's so cool that through scistarter.org, Girl Scouts can like mobilize as an army of scientists and then help adult scientists make like actual findings. I just think that's, I mean, what else are we doing if not that? So that's actually a great reminder for you guys at home if you want to try to do your Think Like a Citizen scientist journey, or just help scientists out, because why wouldn't you want to? Go to scistarter.org and check the Girl Scouts options, and there's a ton of cool projects.
That is amazing. And for positive affirmation, we have a quote from our very own Dr. Fazio. It is, "We are all connected, and no matter what we're doing, we're impacting the planet and we're impacting the future." I love that, because it's true. We're all connected and we all have the power to make a change for good. And while all animals are way beyond extraordinary, and we gain so much from them. So it's time to take care of nature and all of the beautiful living things that live in it.
I completely agree, and that applies to all kinds of conservation. You know, everything that we do makes a difference, whether it's good or bad, so let's make positive differences. And, you know, that was an amazing quote from Dr. Jillian Fazio, and I just want to take this as an opportunity to thank her and thank Mary Laura and Milani and Erin for all their work that they put into this episode. I mean, I personally think that all their segments were really, really great, and so we're really happy to have them here. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, please make sure to check back in for next week's episode. All episodes of GTeam TV launch at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Girl Scouts IGTV, and also on Girl Scouts YouTube channel, where you can catch up with old episodes that you've missed. Next week's episode is all about girl bosses, so really impressive Girl Scout alums that are making waves. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure to check it out.
And don't forget, you can also connect live with girls from all around the country to talk about this show. There are a few different days and times this week where you can meet girls from all over and just hang out and talk. Look for the link in the show description below.
Bye guys, thanks for watching. Peace out, Girl Scout.